Alright. Hello everyone, welcome to August's tier list video here. Just before we get into some of the changes I've made, which you'll notice I've already kind of done, and there's quite a few of them, I wanted to let you guys know that with this format, I decided it was kind of irrelevant. It felt like it was kind of irrelevant to have an F tier anymore, but it was largely because the tier that I felt was for like niche or like early game characters, I think has changed a little bit. I used to want to separate them out. I feel like that's just kind of redundant. It was making too many. There were too many tiers. There were too few characters in each tier. And then, especially once the Drowned got reworked and Stargirl kind of lost. The niche tier was kind of being held up by Stargirl's niche. And then once she lost that, I don't think it was worth really shouting out that there was a niche tier anymore. So now my new C tier is it's a mix of early game and late game niche. So your niche is going to be you have a specific use case. It's not worth uber investing, but I also like a handful of these characters I wouldn't just completely ignore. They can kind of do something. But they're they're okay. I wouldn't invest a ton, and I would only invest in them once you have other characters that are just better properly invested in. And D tier is basically just the old F tier. It's just characters that at this point in the game are largely just not important and not helpful for your account. So anyone in D tier at this point now, I've kind of determined is just it's not worth investing in them. They're not going to do anything for you long term. Of course, if you just like the character, I'm not going to stop you. But if you're worried about min-maxing and, getting the most value out of your resources, I don't. And everyone in D tier now, just don't invest anything into them. Other than stars, obviously, because that's different. But, Okay. Let's just get started then. So starting in S tier with the tanks, I added Mythic plus Fate. Mythic plus Fate and Flash, I think there is a universe they go up to S plus tier once they hit the rest of the servers, but me personally, I just feel like I can't in good faith put them in S plus tier without seeing them in global, without seeing them in just the, not 446 servers that lack every single meta relevant unit. So I think Fate and Flash might move up to S plus tier. Maybe I don't want to garner FOMO, but for now I'm gonna keep them in S tier because I think they're both really strong. They're both really good upgrades. But there is a universe where they do end up getting moved to S plus tier. In fact, Fate I think in particular is going to be kind of disgusting because the new JLD core, you're going to have Fate, you're going to have Swamp Thing, you're going to have Zatanna. That's an insanely strong, just bulky core that can survive and provide an insane amount of both offensive utility and defensive utility. So I think it's definitely going to be a very much threatening team to watch out for. And we'll have to keep an eye on them because I think JLD might be getting a very, very nice buff by turning Fate into essentially Riddler. So we'll see. Moving on, we have Batman Knightfight debuting in A+ tier. I'm kind of waiting to do a little more of an in-depth review on him. I may or may not because I wailed a little more on him than I have other units, so I have a better grasp on him personally without having to wait for global testing. But obviously, global testing is like the cherry on top to figuring out what's good. For now, he feels really situational. I feel like you're only going to use him for Batfam purposes, and if you're not like an uber whale who can invest in his legacy piece up to like purple, arguably even red, he's just gonna sit there and be a meat shield with a 0-star legacy piece, and at 4 purple, just giving all your Batfam allies crit damage. I think he's like a consistent enough just meat bag that it's like if you're running Batfam and you need where Cass is going to struggle against the spiritual comps, he's not going to struggle any more against the spiritual comps than he does the physical. He can just kind of sit there and take damage off of your heat with Red Hood and Nightwing and kind of just exist while giving them a buff. So I don't think he's crazy. Even if, we get to see these Batman night fights with like red 5 legacy piece, or red 5 stars and like purple or higher legacy piece, even if they're one-shotting everything, I don't think he's going to move up. I think he's going to be very situational, very like you have to either commit to investing in him or just be okay with him sitting and kind of just taking damage and giving a very minor buff to your Batfam characters. But he's definitely a very nice piece, I think, for tying Batfam together as a team. So definitely not horrible, but also I don't think obscenely meta-shifting, absolutely game-breaking unit. And he's definitely more PvP focused. he kind of fakes you out because he looks like the 100% attack on that fit skill looks really nice at red stars, but warriors have a pretty low attack stat by default, so he's actually like not doing a ton of damage. I have him at red 1 with a 5 white legacy piece, and he's either doing 2 damage or the most damage on the team, so he's kind of just like a 50-50. It's just, kind of situational where he will pop off and where he'll kind of just sit there and do nothing. Moving on to A tier, real briefly, I wanted to move up Scarecrow. Largely, that was from readjusting and redistributing the tiers, but also because I think Scarecrow, while he is nowhere near as good as he was, and he is not necessarily fantastic, I do kind of think he was a little ragged on. Like, he's still okay. He's still an okay unit at taking damage. He gives Arkham that physical defense tank that they kind of don't really have. So he's like okay, but he's not great. So I don't mind moving up to A tier because I think he still can do stuff, and I think he's better than the 2 Mythic Plus characters below him. But he's still not like phenomenal, and you didn't get like a massive buff. I think he kind of should have been an A tier for a little bit, honestly, and I just I think it just worked out from a reshifting point of view. Mythic Plus Red Robin, I honestly might also move him up to A+, but again, kind of hard with these characters in 446 because we can't really see how they hold up against meta-relevant units right now. So he looks really strong. I think it's a really, really good buff, especially for where Red Robin started and then got kind of knocked down a lot, similar to Scarecrow. I think it's a good buff for him, and I think he definitely will, at the absolute least, be like a solid, usable unit for the people who love Red Robin. Like, I think it's a really good upgrade, and it'll make him actually usable and not just a waste of an investment. So, definitely a very good character. Or, well, I won't say a waste, but he's a very niche character right now. But with this upgrade, he should be a very solid, very good, annoying unit. I think, honestly, backline Red Robin might be the play, and just spawning decoys and taunting, so Cass and Batman, Knightfight, and Red Hood and Batgirl can kind of just be the Batfam team, and then you can move Nightwing to Titans, but we'll see. There's still time to kind of play with that and see how that ends up working, but I think there's some exciting things that Red Robin will enable with Batfam that I'm looking forward to seeing. Now, in the losers for Batfam, I'm going to move Mythic Plus Batman down to B tier. I think this guy is just not good. He already, I was for the longest time comparing him to Superman, but then Superman got SWAT. He got the Justice League buff that gives him 30% ult damage with Justice League allies. Unironically, Superman's ceiling has increased a little bit. Now, granted, his ceiling was really small before, but with a 5 red solar suit, with a 5 red Superman, with a double unyielding will set bonus, Superman can do things. Obviously, this is not for the average player. This is for people who can and want to spend an obscene amount of money to make Superman usable. It's an option, and I think that makes him better than Batman, because I think his ceiling is now higher than Batman's because of SWAT and because of all the Justice League buffs they were giving that team. So, we'll see. So I just wanted to move Batman down because I just don't think he's on the same level as Superman anymore, with that nice little buff. Now, with the new C tier here, we have a mix. It's Harley and Croc are kind of those early game carry units that I still like recommending Harley for early game as a mythic, because she is pretty solid. Obviously, there's better options, but she's okay enough. And then Adam and Donna are going to be your kind of niche units. Adam obviously has his explosion stun, which is really good for manual controlled modes like T-Sim. Can help you clear certain levels you might have not already been able to beat. And Donna is okay, but all Donna really does right now is she gives that third skill, which is P-Def to Amazons, or Spiritual Defense to Titans, and then she kind of just falls over and dies. She has a really nice kit, though, so I'm hoping she is allegedly due for a Mythic Plus Ascension. She's the only one we're 95% sure that Lex, Shazam, and Canary are getting one, and we're 50-50 on Donna because Lex, Shazam, and Canary are just completely missing in servers 446 plus, but Donna does show up, I believe, in either the Champions tab or the Collection tab. It's one of the two, but not both. Whereas, the other characters that got upgraded literally just weren't in the game at all. So I don't know if it's just a mistake and they forgot to take Donna out of one of those collections because she's getting an upgrade, or it's just a bug and she's not in the... But she's also, you can't unlock her from shards, I don't think. So I don't know. I think Donna is due for an upgrade, which would be really nice because I think she's a really cool kit conceptually, but she just cannot survive with Mythic Warrior stats in either of her teams. So hopefully she gets an upgrade because I think she could be a really fun unit to play around with and should be a really good buff to both of her teams. But for now, for what she stands now, I think all she's really doing is she's bringing that 5th skill buff. And then in D tier, we have just not good characters. Mythic Batman, obviously just kind of useless. I think Harley is just a better early game unit, because I think also Mythic plus Harley might be a little better than Mythic plus Batman. I don't know. We'll see. I got a Mythic plus Harley. They can't also get past blue stars in the new servers, so we have no idea what her max looks like. But she could be pretty decent, especially if we get any sort of Suicide Squad or even another Bop character in the bleed this next quarter. So I think Mythic plus Harley has potential, but for now, since her teams are kind of she's got to stay in B tier, and also because we just haven't seen her max potential. But Mythic plus Harley could move up, and that's also going to make Mythic Harley a little more valuable, because you are probably going to want to build Mythic Harley to be able to upgrade her to Mythic plus, I think. We don't really know, obviously, but, you know, just something to look out for. Whereas Batman and arguably Red Robin might move up, too, because, you know, you're going to want to build him because Mythic plus Red Robin is good, but we'll see. Catwoman, just the worst unit in the game, obviously. I don't really think I need to go over that anymore. So yeah, that's going to be your tanks. I kind of ran through them pretty quick because there are a good amount of changes, but I think the rest are pretty much a little more straightforward. Moving on to DPS, I do want to go ahead and move Red Hood up to S tier. I was talking with Toki, a good friend of mine who also is a content creator and a mod in the main server. I think there is a universe where Wally and Red Hood are kind of just on the same tier, but Wally I don't think has the resources to do it yet. I think in a universe where Wally has Mythic plus Red Robin, Mythic plus Donna, Beast Boy who's about to release in beta, obviously you have Starfire, like I think there's a universe where a team like that, like Wally will do what Red Hood is currently doing now that he's in Global, but for now I think Red Hood is better, because Red Hood's also actually a decent counter to Death Metal Batman. And he's having a lot more PvP viability than we kind of initially expected from you know, beta testing. So very good. He's also definitely better in CC. He is just the de facto best merciless unit now. He is challenging Supergirl for Dawnbreaker, which is better than I was hoping he could, but I wasn't able to produce the results myself, and I'm seeing success in Global with him at least challenging Supergirl for the Dawnbreaker day, which will be very interesting to see going forward. But yeah, I think Red Hood is definitely better than we kind of initially thought. And then I kind of had an awkward A+ tier once I moved Red Hood out of it. So I think Wally, just because I'm kind of putting a little faith in Beast Boy to be like that warrior, guardian, off-tank buffer, or even like any kind of buffer for Titans for Beast Boy is going to just be a straight-up buff for Wally. I think Frontline is probably their best bet, because Donna and Red Robin both have other teams they can kind of want to go to at times. So Titans could really use a good consistent frontliner who is like only on Titans and only made for Titans, and I think that's gonna be Beast Boy. If Beast Boy's a DPS, I think the Wally believers are screwed. If he's a support, I think the Wally believers are gonna have to live with him at A+, but I think if he's a tank, the Wally believers get to see him go up to S tier. But we'll see. I don't want to talk on that too much because it's all still speculative, based on A, if Donna even is ascending, and B, what class and what Beast Boy's kit will look like, which we won't know for another, 2 weeks or so. So, I'll update you guys on that in the next month's tier list video, hopefully. But for now, I don't mind moving Wally up because I think he's kind of just on par with Gnarly and Lex. I mean, Lex is obviously just a support. And Gnarly is pretty solid for PvE purposes, not so great for PvP. And Wally, I mean, even on the Kraken level, he's already starting to do some okay things in PvP, but I still just think for the average player, until Titans gets those frontliners, he's just not fantastic. Okay. Moving on, I wanted to move Aquaman up. I've kind of been, I think, overly harsh on this character. I think Red Hood, Sway, again, testing with Red Hood, and just Red Hood in general. You know, Aquaman is proving to be a good Death Metal Batman counter. He's really, really fantastic with Red Hood, because you can kind of combo Red Hood and Aquaman ults together, and they'll just kind of nuke people in PvP. It's a very, very, very viable strat in PvP, and it's getting some decent enough punch-ups that I'm like, I need to move Aquaman up from where he was originally. I don't think it's a character that you're gonna want to invest an uber amount in. Like, I think literally the extent of Aquaman upgrading is going to be you get him to red stars, or like, you know, you just passively get him stars, you give him Ivy Dart, and then you get his energy gain force node, and then you can kind of just leave him like that for a long time until you have, excuse me, the extra resources to invest in him and maybe try and bump his attack and his survivability a little bit. But realistically, he just needs energy gain that he'll get from the Ivy Dart and he gets from the Force Node in his tree. So he just needs to get the single ult off. That's like his entire purpose. Because he'll usually get it when Red Hood gets his ult, and then you can combo the two of them in PvP, and it's had some really nice results. So I think Aquaman was kind of overdue, and I don't mind putting him on the same level as Deathstroke and Raish for the current moment. I'm still going to keep Mythic Plus Aquaman down in B tier because I think he is just strictly a downgrade. There is some tech that we'll see. I think like a Mythic Aquaman with Neptune's Blessing, the Mythic Plus Aquaman Legacy piece, might have some merit to it, but that's all speculative. And I mean, we still haven't seen Mythic Aquaman or Mythic Plus Aquaman ceiling, because I think the highest Aquaman I've like seen ever is like yellow stars, and I don't think his Legacy piece is very invested in. So there is a chance Red Mythic Plus Aquaman turns out to be a good damage dealer, but the question is that AoE damage that he's able to do gonna be enough to offset the value of losing his ability to bunch up enemies with his ult? That's the biggest question mark, and I think the biggest reason people are so harsh on the Aquaman upgrade is because he's losing the ability to group up enemies with his ult, which is at the moment like 90% of his value, like I was just talking about with Red Hood. And that's how he counters Death Metal Batman too. So if he loses that ability, it might be up in the air for how he performs. Is he going to have enough juice with Red Star Legacy piece to compete with, like... Or, like, if you give him, like, a Red Star T-Sphere and have Aquaman at Red Star, is that going to compete with Red Hood? I don't think there's any way to really know that right now, because, well, I mean, actually, I think it... No, you know, just later, like, for a global player, for a late-game player, not in 446+. It's still questionable, and I think a lot of that stuff, it's like, ooh, it's kind of like beta, where it's like, the early testing in 446+, it's kind of just like, okay, it gives us a baseline, but we really, really need to wait to see, how these characters will impact. There's no way to really know for sure how they'll impact once they hit the global servers, and later. So, for now, I'm just kind of I'm erring on the side of caution with the Mythic Plus units, kind of like how I treat new beta units, but we'll see. There was a little shuffling around. I think C tier, yeah, we have Arsenal's here because, when you compare him to the other two Mythic Plus DPS, at least he's giving crit damage to Titans with his ult. That's literally all he's doing, but it's something, which is better than these two idiots. And then you just have the best, physical early game champion, and then the best spiritual early game champion. And then in D tier here, we have, you know, obviously Deadshot's kind of just useless now that Lobo, especially now, he was already not great, but at least he did healing reduction. But, like, now that Lobo exists, there's literally no reason this unit needs to be considered ever. He's just not good. Robin just does damage. It doesn't really matter. You can't be a standard mythic and just do damage. I just don't think he's going to compete. He's way too squishy. He doesn't do enough to warrant how squishy he is. And then Legendary Red Hood is just worse than Green Arrow, I think, from comparing Legendaries. So I moved him down because I think a lot of people kind of also just aren't high on Legendary Red Hood, so I moved him down to D tier for now because I think he is just worse than Green Arrow. He's on worse teams, he has a worse kit, so yeah. Moving on to supports here, I didn't change S+. I think some people probably want Joker to move down. I think I saw a comment saying that they would put Joker like down as far down as like here. I would not agree. I think the lowest he possibly goes is S tier, and then he'll probably just stay S tier for the rest of the game's life. But I'm okay enough with him at S+ tier. I still think he's doing enough in PvP and enough in everything that isn't combat cycle, and he's still the best for that Devastator. So I don't mind keeping Joker here. You know, he might move down if we get more Intimidators that can kind of do what he does or something. For now, I think he's just fine here. I wanted to move up both Batgirls because I think I was kind of undervaluing Mythic Plus Batgirl a little bit, but I like her. I like her on this tier. With these two, I think she's going to be very, like, you're going to use her for I don't expect her to go to S+ tier, but I think she's going to be really strong for all the physical comps, especially Titans and Batfam, whereas, like, Green Lantern, you're going to be able to throw on the quick, easy comps, like, or the super quick comps, like the Lod, or bunker him down with JL, and then Starfire is obviously, like I've said before, for your long-term teams that are playing the long game to, like, ramp up, like JLD, like Superfam. She enables them to ramp up a little more consistently. So I think all three of these guys are really strong, really good healers, and they're definitely just straight up better than the rest of the healers below them. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Mythic plus Flash, I think there's a universe he goes to S plus tier. But again, not gonna do that without seeing his kit, without actually getting my hands on him or seeing people do testing in global servers with him. Batgirl, I think, just moved up because, again, I think she just kind of needed to. She's definitely, I think, on crypto level when it comes to who is the best standard mythic support to invest in. I think her and crypto are kind of top two, and then it will trickle down to the rest of these guys. So I think Batgirl's just really solid and really good, especially with all the Bat Fam characters we're getting. I do think there's a little bit of redundancy. Like I personally in my testing, I'm having trouble slotting Batgirl and Batman Knightfight on the same team because they're one's crit damage buff, one's crit rate buff. Like it kind of feels a little like you're just wasting a slot, but I also, that's still early testing with Batman, so we'll see. So the point of that was I'm saying I think Batman Knightfight, if he's better, might bring down Batgirl's value a teeny bit. Maybe definitely not enough to drop her down to A tier, but just something that worth mention. I think Batgirl is kind of freed from being hard locked into Batfam comps because now Batman Knightfight is kind of that hard lock into Batfam comps, and it opens up Batgirl to move to some other stuff. So that'll be interesting to see, and hopefully keep an eye on. Not much changes here. These guys kind of all stay the same. C tier. This C tier is largely niche tier, although I kind of consider Penguin like early game. If you're in a server that doesn't have Joker, you can do some things with Penguin, and obviously Arkham Training Sim. Penguin is going to be your only bet if you don't have Joker in your servers. So he's doing something. That's the only thing keeping him out of D tier. And Cold is obviously just still good for... Still not good. Still semi-usable for mid to like early late game pure LOD comps if you don't want to use your Hippo or your Green Lantern isn't built. He can do something. I think he's probably just straight up better than Croc, but I think that's still arguable, and I don't know enough about the LOD metagame to make that claim boldly. So personally, I would value the utility of Cold over Croc, but I'm not sure if that's like the answer or not. But I'll we'll see. Moving on to D tier here, Stargirl. I went over briefly. The main reason she was even in C tier in that niche tier was because of the Drowned, and then once they reworked the Drowned and she lost her stun, Stargirl is just not good. I know people like to think, or this isn't a dig at anyone, but I think people like to think, Stargirl is a debuff cleanser, so she should counter Joker. She's only cleansing 5 debuffs with her ult. Joker applies like 20 debuffs in like 1 second to one person. Like she can't make a dent in the amount of debuffs Joker can do. I think she can probably counter like Penguin, the spiritual defense on that Raven does. Like these niche like single target debuffs she can still counter. But I just still cannot recommend the average player investing in her. And especially because her only team is JL and she gets literally nothing from being on that team because your ult doesn't do damage, and who cares about attack on the character that is meant to be supporting you through buffs. So, just kind of useless. Black Canary again, she's kind of been down here. There's always whispers in the wind every now and then that like, oh, Black Canary can do this, Black Canary can do that. Not really. And definitely not for the average player, unfortunately. I think she's just in a weird spot because she is a melee champion. Like she has to run to the front line to do her basic attacks, even if she'll start the ult with the attack reduction, which is like probably just arguably the best part of her kit because it's the most consistent part of her kit. And then she has like attack reduction on her first skill, which is not good for the current meta. And then she has her third skill is just 100% P-def at max, which is literally just useless. So I don't know. I'm excited for a Mythic plus Black Canary rework because I think they could very easily cook and make her like a really strong unit. But they also very well could just do what they did to Batman, keep her kit the exact same, give her a mediocre legacy piece, and she's still just stuck in like she might move up to like niche, but I doubt she moves higher if they just keep her kit the way it is. She needs a lot of help, but I think it's also changes that aren't too hard to make. I moved Mara down largely because Mythic Plus healers are coming in, and Fate's now a healer with his legacy piece. You can't get Mara out of this tier this late in the game, unfortunately. I think just being a healer is just kind of a death sentence for her. You can use her early game, that's fine. Maybe when Atlanteans get a team, maybe she comes back. Unless she gets, like, upgraded all the way to Mythic Plus and given a legacy piece, though, I don't think this character does anything ever. Her kit is just too bare bones, and it's the same issue that Vixen has, too. Her kit is just so bare bones, where it's like, how can you even compete with Mythic Flash? Like, regular Mythic Flash and Cyborg, but now we have Mythic Plus Batgirl, we have Mythic Plus Cyborg, we have Superboy, we have Zatanna. Like, you just can't keep, this character just can't keep up with her with her very, very bad, just, like, flat, or not, well, her flat attack percent, increase that she is giving to, her allies, and she has no synergy with Bop, and I don't know why she's not on Justice League, so I don't know, just a lot of question marks from Vixen. I think it wouldn't be hard to make her usable, even if she was just mythic, but, if she just stays here as a legendary only on Bop, she is just not useful at all. Outside of, like, the first week of your game before you unlock Flash and Cyborg. So yeah. I think that's gonna do it here. I'm looking forward to next month, because we'll have Beast Boy to add. And hopefully, I mean, I think the most recent word from CMs is that the Mythic Plus Ascensions are due for the... Still, the goal is end of the quarter to get them all out, which means by the end of this month, hopefully we'll at least have access to... So come next month, I think I'll be able to add Mythic Plus... definitely, I would assume almost certainly Mythic Plus Shazam and Lex, and then hopefully Mythic Plus Donna and Canary too. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully those will be some nice buffs to those characters. Lex, I'm a little nervous. I can honestly make a video. I've been debating making a video going over just the Mythic Plus, the ones that have already ascended, and the ones that have yet to ascend, and kind of like what I think they need and what I think they'll get, and where I think that'll make them end up. Like, I've already put this out on my spreadsheet, if you guys can see. I've already kind of started doing that for the characters that have we can already see their kit, and then I have these guys kind of in holding, ready to get added here. So I might make a video going over this at some point, and I might talk a little more in depth. If that's something you want, let me know. I'll gladly whip out another, like, 15-20 minute video just going over all of these guys. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for now. As always, you know, you can kind of see... I'll make changes sporadically before next month, so if you want to see and keep up to date, you can always check out the spreadsheet. It's linked in my Discord bio. I gotta... hopefully I'll remember to add it to either the comments or the description of this video. And then you guys can kind of go from there and just keep an eye on it. So yeah, I think it's going to do it. Hopefully I'll see you guys next month with some good news for Beast Boy, maybe some good news with Wally, and the mythic characters that are getting ascended. But yeah, it's going to do it for me. I will catch you guys next video.